Invincible is getting ready to go to college, and he is saying his goodbyes to his very emotional mother that still supports him on his journey. He leaves, and Debbie calls the number Olga gave her and sets up a meeting with the group that will hopefully get her through her grief. Invincible has a conversation with his friend, who also happens to be his roommate at the dorm, about maturing and maybe not ruining his pickup game. This leads to Invincible throwing away his childhood toys, except for one of his favorites, Seance Dog. He returns to find his friend already locking the door and getting some action on the first day of college, so Invincible goes to his girlfriend Amber to get some of his own action. The scene then changes, and we leave Amber and Invincible to their steamy session to focus on another story. If you're into animation recaps, then Inky Myths will be your go-to for manga recaps, the ultimate hub where your favorite manga and webtoons come alive in thrilling summaries. Whether you're catching up on the latest chapters or revisiting old favorites, we've got you covered. So, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, like, and join us as we uncover the ink-stained tales of adventure and myth. We learn about a planet by the name of Europa, where the inhabitants look very similar to a character we already know and love, Alan the Alien. We see the history of peace and prosperity that Europa was known for, before it all came crashing down as the Viltrumites attacked and conquered the planet in a matter of days. Even when the Unipans waited when the Viltrumites were at their weakest and counterattacked after decades, they were still stomped into near extinction. Some Unipans then managed to flee their planet, to settle somewhere else among the stars. They started breeding programs to increase their population, and that was when Thetis, the leader of the coalition of planets, invited them to join their ranks after they showed a great deal of courage and resolve by escaping the Viltrumites and building their population back up. Europa explained to the council how their breeding program was also used to create enhanced soldiers to battle Viltrumites. The only successful result of that program was Alan the Alien, who couldn't find an opponent to beat him in battle, even before he was a full-grown adult. But even with all that, he couldn't defeat a single Viltrumite in battle. So now he has a new mission to inspect planets and fight its best fighters to see if anyone can defeat him, and thus become an ally in the war against Viltrumites. This ultimately led him to Invincible. Alan returns to the council to give them the hopeful news of Viltrumite that is sympathetic to the cause against his kind. He tells them about Invincible, and the council enters a frenzy declaring how it is stupid to trust a Viltrumite and how the report seems shady. Thetis, however, comes to a conclusion that the existence of Invincible gives them the first weakness they have seen in Viltrumites, and so he thanks Alan for the report while the council discusses this important matter. After the meeting, Thetis talks to Alan about a recent attack by the Viltrumites against a planet that just recently joined the coalition. He thinks there might be a mole, and he wants Alan to find him. Alan returns back home and gets ambushed by Talia, a general working for the council. But it turns out she was his girlfriend, and that was just intense foreplay on her part, so they start making out and sleep with each other. Alan then goes out on a date with Talia, and as he was about to tell her about the existence of a mole, he gets suddenly ambushed by 3 Viltrumites. They take him to outer space as Talia and the rest of the restaurant watch. They ask him about the Earth Viltrumite, his son, and if he actually left his post. Alan doesn't give them a single useful clue, so they beat the ever-living shit out of him and leave his corpse floating in space. Alan is immediately taken to the hospital, and he seems to have survived for now, but clearly in critical condition. Thetis visits him and comforts his grieving girlfriend before sending her away and then shutting down all the medical devices keeping Alan alive. What a bitch-ass move, man. We shift our perspective back to the Guardians, and we see Rex Splode having a talk with Duplicate and her cheating. It is your typical relationship bullshit that also somehow doesn't make a lick of sense. They are interrupted by the Shapesmith being really odd at pretending to be human. Meanwhile, Monster Girl sees Rudy meditating. She asks him what he is doing, and he basically tells her he is trying to get rid of his fear. She warns him that it is important, and it results in him indirectly confessing to her by asking her out to watch a movie with him. Meanwhile, Debbie goes to the support group meeting and listens to some of them. After the meeting, she is stopped by one of the people in there who basically tries to comfort her about sharing with the group. He invites her to a bar, and she accepts the distraction. Back to Rudy and Monster Girl, they go on the movie date, and Monster Girl finds out Rudy didn't do a lot of normal things, so she takes him to eat fast food as well. Debbie, on the other hand, goes out with the support group guy and finds out his partner was killed by Omni-Man, so excuses herself to the bathroom while crying. Invincible goes back to his dorm, and he and his roommate get a knock on the door. His roommate opens up thinking it is Amber, only to be shocked that it is the Seance Dog from Invincible's poster and childhood toy. Invincible immediately lunges at the dog and takes him to the outside to have a talk about his identity. Seance Dog tries to get Invincible to understand that he is not just a comic book character and that he exists in other alternate universes, but Invincible is not convinced and he attacks him thinking he poses danger. Invincible beats the shit out of this poser and threatens him to reveal his true identity for the last time or he won't show mercy. Defeated, Seance Dog drops the wacky disguise and reveals himself to be an alien from a planet called Thraxa. He tells Invincible that he and his people have heard the tales of Invincible and his immense power, so he traveled for basically most of his lifetime to reach him and beg for his help against the meteor showers that threaten to kill all of his people. Invincible is dumbfounded since he just started college, but his best friend and roommate convinces him to go with the alien and help his people, because the last time he didn't want to help someone, they both regretted it. Cecil talks to Invincible and gives him the order to not go with the alien and leave Earth. He even tries to bait Invincible by saying his father would say the same things Invincible is saying to convince Cecil. Invincible, however, chooses to listen to his heart before Cecil. Invincible then makes a quick stop by his girlfriend's dorm room and tells her about his mission that will keep him away for weeks. She immediately agrees and tells him to never apologize for saving lives. Meanwhile, the guy from the support group follows Debbie outside and finds her crying. He tries to comfort her, but she confesses that she is feeling guilty because her husband is not even dead, and he was responsible for the death of many, including his wife. The support group guy figures out that it was Omni-Man, and his tone immediately changes. He wishes he was dead too, but not for her sake, and then tells her to her face that she should not come back to the support group because it wouldn't be a safe space with her being there. She obviously breaks down crying. Back to Invincible's trip through space, the alien wakes him up as they arrive at his home planet. The place looks beautiful, but most importantly, peaceful. Invincible is dumbfounded once again and asks about the meteor showers that are killing billions. The alien basically responds like that was never a threat, and chalks it up to his aging brain making him say things. He tells him that their monarch will explain everything, and then he takes Invincible to him. The surprise here is that the monarch happens to be his father, goddamn Omni-Man in the flesh, and that's how the episode closes. That was a neat little episode with some consequential action taking place, some huge revelations with equally great implications, and a nice little surprise reintroduction to Omni-Man back into the fold. I really like Alan the alien portion of the episode. It would be sad to see Alan actually getting killed off like that. There has to be something more to do with him. As for the Omni-Man appearance, there is not a lot to say about that, except the anticipation of what he does in the next episode. Can't wait. This brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this one. Your support helps us grow. And tell me, what do you think of this episode? Do you think Alan lived through his beating? What do you think Omni-Man will say to Invincible? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them. And if you're watching till now, thank you. I'll see you in another video soon.